Hi and welcome back to Picket Studios YouTube channel. In this video I will be sharing a card where I did some stamping on top of vellum. I just love this effect. It's super dramatic but really easy to create. And I picked one of the newer stamps from Picket Studios. This one is called Plenty of Fish, and it's this dramatic background with all the fishes swimming in a circle, and you have a lot of separate images that you can build your scene with or your background with. So this is really one of those amazing backgrounds that you can use over and over again and that you can create different effects with. So I'm just taking my hand here and rubbing away some of the residue that you get with stamps like this that are really high quality polymer. So I'm just after I prepped my stamp, I will also prep my surface where we're gonna do some stamping. So I took my embossing anti-static tool here. It's just a bag with some powder inside, and then I will pick up my stamp after like placing my stamp in the right position. And then I sort of figure out where my magnets are gonna go, so it isn't in the way when I do some stamping here in a second. So I'm using a clear sticky ink. This one is called Versamark, and it's one of those common inks that you can buy. And then I will just press it really good into my stamp, and then I will take the lid and press it down on top of my vellum piece here. So when I'm done with this, since it's vellum, it's super easy to pick up the vellum with the stamp, if that makes sense. So you can see here that I will try to position it down again, and when I'm pleased with that, I will go ahead and ink the stamp up again, just so I get this really nice impression. Since this is the first time I'm using this stamp, it's really nice to just make sure that you get a good impression. So I'm using an ink smoosher here, I'm just going over my image. So then I will pick it up and I will do some use some embossing powder. So here is the embossing powder I will be using. It's from Wow, and I like that it's this silvery, sparkly, nearly champagne color, if that makes sense. And I'm just using a coffee filter to pick up all the excess sparkle here, and I'm just tipping it back and forward so I get a really good coverage of my image here, and then I'm just lightly tapping it to the backside just to remove any powder that got stuck to some of the places where it shouldn't have got stuck. And I will heat set this off camera just because my mat doesn't like the heat. So here you can see how it looks after being stamped and heat embossed once. And then I will pick out another one of those really nice filler images that you get in this set, and I will just do the same process here, but I will not use my MISTI for this one. Since this is a much smaller stamp, I'm using one of my acrylics blocks and just picking the stamp up, and then the same ink that I used before. And you can see here how fast it goes to just fill in this background completely. And I will use the same ink. You could actually here take the opportunity to mix it up maybe and use some other type of embossing powder, but I really wanted this dramatic effect in the background. So I will heat set that, and I will do it once more with another small step, but I left that step out of the video, but you can see the result there. So now I will take my ink pad. This is a black hybrid ink pad from Picket Studios, and I will ink up this really cute mermaid. And this one is from an older stamp set called a Fishy lot. And I just love when you can combine new products with older products, and they work super nicely together. This line with this background stamp. And then I just pulled out a couple of Copic markers that I have in my stash, and I will go ahead and carefully ink all of the parts up here. And I'm kind of a lazy crafter, so I'm just using two colors here, so you can see which markers I'm using if you want to replicate this card. And I'm doing this really sort of carefully just going through all of these like, can you call it shells maybe, on the tail here of the mermaid, and then I'm going over it with a lighter marker just over all of it. And then I picked a couple of more neutral colors for the body. You can see I'm doing this really sort of step by step here, going from the darkest to the lightest. If you would like some more control over your Copic markers, I would suggest that you go from the lightest color to the darkest and then back again. But since I'm using fairly few colors here, I decided just to go the other way around, but you can choose whatever you like. So for the hair here, after I looked at this image, I think it had been super cool if I had made it in like a purple color or something more dramatic. Since our background is sort of that sparkly, glittery background, it maybe had been nice if the hair that is such a large part of this mermaid had been in a different color. But in the end, I really ended up liking the brown hair, and I think that also makes the background stand out a little bit more. I don't know, that was only my process going forward here. I wanted to see how everything looked before I decided if I wanted to stamp out another image. And by the way, for this stamp set there is coordinating dies, so I just went ahead and die cut our little mermaid out. So now I will play around a little bit with the sentiments. So I looked at the Slimline die cutting system, and this is the one with the scallop frame dies, and I decided that I wanted a sentiment that would stand out, so I decided to use the hi and the hello, and you will see that I'm doing a fun twist here and just rotating the hello, so you get like the hi the right way and the hello the different way. I don't know, I sort of thought it looked quite fun to have it that playfulness on the card. Since everything else was quite structured, I just wanted something that would catch your attention. And I also wanted to build some dimension for my letters here, so I'm just building it up by die cutting the same letters a couple of times to get some dimension between our panel here and the background. And you will see a couple of helping hands here. This is William, he is 2 years old, and he's my youngest kid. And he really wanted to help me with this panel. I'm glad it worked out, even though I had like 3 hands on this panel at the same time. But you can see here I'm just carefully rotating my panel here, having it face down and then scoring like a ½ inch, or what is that, a quarter of an inch maybe. You can see I'm just doing this so I have a small piece that will act like a hinge that we can have adhesive to and hide it on the backside of our teal card front panel here. Velum doesn't really like adhesive, it can show through and it can look really awful, and I wanted to have like a door on my card, so that is really a fun technique to do, to have a vellum door. So I really wanted this to work out nicely and to be good in the end. So I decided here just to do this hinge method, and you will see how I was fiddling around with it a little bit, and then I will have it perfectly aligned here in a second. And you can see that we got this ½ inch that is showing, and I really wanted that because I will have a secret message on the inside behind our mermaid. So if you didn't have that hinged, maybe the recipient wouldn't notice that the panel isn't stuck to the blue panel like a door. So I really wanted that to be some space between the card base and our front panel here, just so the recipient would notice that something was going on with this card. So I'm just gluing this, and this adhesive is really strong, so you can just glue it and it will attach to the vellum, no problem at all. And if you have some glue oozing out, you can always pick that away before it dries. So then I wanted to hide my little hinge here, so I will take a card base. This is a side folded note card, and I will just adhere it to my card base here, and the blue piece will be attached, and you will never know how I adhere my little door to our card front here. And I will hide our secret message here behind our mermaid. And I picked one of the newer stamp sets and just took a sentiment from that one. And you can see here I have my MISTI out and I have aligned my card inside, and then I will pick up the sentiment after aligning it with the mermaid, so I know that it will be totally covered inside of this. And then I stamped out my sentiment behind my mermaid. So here you can see the finished card. We have our door that opens, and then you have your inside of your card base where you can write your personal message. So I hope you like this project and that you find it inspiring or maybe want to create something similar. I will have all the products that I use in this video listed down below. And until next time, I hope you have a great day. Bye!